Emmanuel Macron has told an audience of Kenyans to shut up or leave the room.
You're not waiting your turn.
Excuse me, everybody. Hey. I'm sorry, guys. But it's impossible to speak about culture, to have people like that super inspired coming here, making a speech with such a noise. So this is a total lack of respect. So I suggest, if you want to have bilaterals or speak about somebody else, something else, you have bilateral rooms or you go outside. If you want to stay here, we listen to the people. And we play in the same game. Okay? Thank you.
What does that tell you? That in their minds, African countries are still fit for colonization. Remember that the DNA of the colonizer does not change.
Wakoloni wamerudi. Halo. Hakuna design nyingine. Hivi ndo walikuja ile wakati ya machief. Sasa wamekuja wakati ya mapresident. Halo. Haki ya Mungu tusipobadilisha hii serikali, mtaona wakoloni mpaka kwa duka. Mtaona wazungu kila mahali Kenya. Watauza mpaka nyanya na magunia kwa barabara. Wacha vile saizi mnabomoleshwa maduka eti sijui hizi ni mavibanda. Mutaona wazungu wakitembea mpaka na matroli. Kwani huyu jamaa yeye anaangalia hivi anaona Wakenya hawawezi fanya hizo vitu wa Faransa wanakuja kufanya hapa. Haki ya Mungu, saa nyingine nasikianga mpaka kulia. Nguvu inaniishia kabisa. Nini hiyo huu president wa France amekam kudu nini huyo Morio? Huyo Morio si alichujwa huko Burkina Faso, amekaa hapa kudu nini? Hiyo maswali nasikia wamesign sijui nini hizo 11 sijui nini hizo wamesign. Wabunge wetu wako wapi? Wabunge wetu maparliamentarians ndio hao wamebaiwa wanang'ana kusema tuta. Mpaka watu wa ODM wale tungekimbilia wa mwisho wako hapo wanasema tuta. Na wanajua tu vizuri. Wanajua kutoka ndani ni mbaya. Lakini kwa sababu tu wanataka kukula walai. Wanataka tu wakule. Sasa kitu yoyote hata ikifanyika wao bora wameshiba. Nyinyi hawatambui. Sasa wakoloni ndio hao wanarudi. Wakoloni. Wewe uko na pesa wewe ya kufaa. Haki ya Mungu Kasongo. Nani alileta huyu jamaa? Nilijaribu kuambia watu hawakusikia. Makosa. Hiyo ni makosa kubwa sana ilifanyika. Tuna la kufanya sasa, si mmesema tuanzie hapo chini bottom. Kwa mama mboga. Hapa chini kumechacha.
So the president of France is in Kenya during his summit in which he's hoping to have a better relation with Africans. He said that he wanted the relationship to change from one of exploitation to one of equal partners. But he walked to the stage and he took the microphone from the host, who seemed quite surprised. He took the microphone and he told to the audience of Kenyans to be quiet and leave if they didn't want to listen. He said that it was very difficult for people to speak about culture when people were talking. So he told them, get up and leave if you don't want to be in the audience. And this is a man who wants to prove to Africans that he can treat them with respect. He spoke to them like a bunch of school children. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine him speaking to a group of white audiences, telling them to get up and leave if they couldn't, if they weren't capable of speaking? And he's literally in Kenya to engage with Kenyans on a level par so that they can invest or do trade with each other. He literally could not wait his turn. He just marched up to the stage, took the microphone from the person who was hosting, and even they seemed surprised. They were like, oh, already you couldn't wait your turn? He just took the microphone and he said, it's very difficult to speak about culture when you are speaking. If you don't want to listen, get up and leave.
You know, nimeona video ya Macron anaenda kwa stage, anaanza kukelelesha watu ati wanyamazi ati discipline. And I'm wondering if it was a forum of white presidents and a black president woke up and went to the stage, would he have said that? Would he even have been allowed to say, you guys are making noise, let us have decorum and discipline? Because we know they are also noisy and they make a lot of noise. Well, Macron huku si kwenyu, by the way. Usidhani tumesahau vitu umefanyia akina Burkina Faso hadi Traore akahave kucut ties na nyinyi, chase away the French companies that were mining and benefiting off their country at your expense. Hatujasahau, by the way, wewe ni kama wetaka zako tu ni kupigwa maslaps huko na bibi yako mwenye hata hatuwezi jua kama ni dem ama ni boy. Have some respect. Why? By the way, as Kenyans we are allowed and we will say whatever we need to say in whatever forum. Sikuja hapa kutu na mungelesha nani hivyo kwa country ya nani? Tuna adabu makoroni wewe. Respect.
News Kenya, skiti ya President William Samoei Ruto na Macron wameona Nairobi University. Wakenya ni watu wa maajabu sana. Ati wanaongea hivyo, wao pia wanaongea huko zao. Hadi Macron anakasirika. Anawaambia that mwenye anataka kusikia akae, mwenye hataki kusikia atoke akae nje. Wakenya wataki hizi vitu za US, sijui France, Africa, sijui nini, summit, moving forward. Kwani hizo mambo yote yenye France inataka kufanyia Afrika, benefits yenye hao wata benefit ni nini? Kama mnafikiria watu ni wajinga, wata benefit nini hao?
So there's this video of French President Emmanuel Macron trying to quiet an audience in Nairobi, Kenya. You know, he's in the country for the Africa Forward Summit that is happening today and tomorrow. But the video is trending. It's going viral online because the fact that he got up and he spoke to the audience. Just listen in.
Excuse me, everybody. Hey! Hey! I'm sorry, guys, but it's impossible to speak about culture, to have people like that super inspired coming here, making a speech with such a noise. So this is a total lack of respect. So I suggest, if you want to have bilaterals or speak about somebody else, something else, you have bilateral rooms or you go outside. If you want to stay here, we listen to the people.
And yes, he has a point, but do you think he was the right person to do that? Should he have asked someone in his team maybe to talk to the moderator to quiet the audience? It's interesting. What are your thoughts?
Beautiful people, please take a look at this video. This was Macron today in Kenya. Look at what he did. I want you to pay a great attention to this video, please.
So then.
Already? You're not waiting your turn.
Excuse me, everybody. Hey!
This is what some people's favorite, because when we are giving these analysis here, some people come to the comment section and say, oh, you're claiming as if you know everything, blah, blah, blah. This is what Macron did today on the African continent. This is nothing else but condescendence on Africans in their own country, on their own soil. I hope you can see. I hope you guys can understand. See, for those who think that France or these Westerners would ever have a win-win business or bilateral relationship with you, you are wasting your time. It's about time all African countries started taking after the AES. Because these people, there is just no way under any peaceful means they would ever look at you as their equals. They see you as non-human beings. Great job to the AES. Every day you guys would keep seeing why the AES is the right thing to do in Africa.
Hii dunia mzima hakuna watu wako na madharau kama Wafaransa. Alo, wewe unasikianga French? Wanaleta hizi meeting zao za French hapa. Wewe unasikianga French? Wakenya. Nimewaita mara ngapi? Endeleeni kusema tuta. Endelea kabisa. Utajua kwa nini nyanya yako hana shamba, wewe uko hapa town unazurura. Endelea kuita kusema tuta. Kaa fala na uko kwa bed sitter.
Yani you guys you don't give a F. I'm give a F president wa France kwa nchi yenu. Sahi wazazi wetu wanashtuka and the other generations. One thing mimi najua, even if mnaita hii generation Gen Z duanzis, now ati wali fail, I know they set wao ndo wali set hii mood. Wao ndo wali set you are living on the inside the circle. Kwa sababu kama ni kitambo sahi wazazi wetu na akina IQ Watson wangekuwa wamepanga line all the way from the airport kwa hizi barabara zote wakiimba tu ngoma za tradition, wakirusha maua kwa barabara. Macron na Kenya. But najua 80% of you mnajua kwa Kenya juu yangu. Lakini kuna millennials wenye hujifanya wajanja. Sasa wao ndo wanataka wajue anafanya nini Kenya, ndo wakuja watuambie. We don't care. Biashara ni zake. 2027 itafika. We don't care. I love the Gen Z duanzis. Even though IQ Watson anawaita. That runaway person. Old person. Aita Gen Z duanzis. Because of setting the mood. Sahi haamini hakuna mtu anashughulika na hao, mwenye ako Kenya, mwenye hayuko, we don't care. Kitambo mtu alikuwa anatoka US anakuja huku amesifiwa. Haamini pia hakuna mtu atanashughulika na yeye.
Aya, wakifukuzwa mahali wamezoea kuiba, wanatorokea hapa. Naongea kuhusu akina nani? Naongea kuhusu France. Yes, I'm talking about the France African Summit. Because hii summit imeishi kuwa. But somehow they have never decided to hold it in Kenya until wakafukuzwa West Africa. Well, in case you don't know, summit imeishi kufanyika. Lakini inafanyikanga huko Francophone countries. That means zile nchi zinaongeanga French as their official language. Hapa kwenyu mnaongeanga French? Hapa kwenyu hamuongei French. So I wonder, but anyway, what you need to know is walifukuzwa West Africa due ya kuexploit Africans. Yes, they were chased out of Burkina Faso, wakafukuzwa Niger. And if you remember very well, there was a time huyu president wa France mwenye ako hapa alikuwa anataka kumaliza president wa Burkina Faso because alikatazwa kuingia kumine ama kuexploit minerals za West Africa. Now they needed to come back to Africa because bila Africa hawa survive. And which better way than to find a new puppet? Which better way than to find a new colony? And which better way to get in here but to use the most greedy person we have in Africa? Wamerudi Africa, wamepitia East Africa, and just like always, Kenya's greed. You know, lazima tupeane kila mtu. Mnadhani watu wenye wamefukuza huko West Africa wamewafukuza juu waliwapenda sana, si ndio? They were chased out because they thrive in exploiting Africans. Hello? Musidhani ati wako hapa juu wanawapenda. Musidhani wako hapa ati juu they are very concerned about the Kenyan economy. They are not. They are not. They are here to exploit. Tuko pamoja, and they found just the perfect puppet. Alafu nasikia president wao akuja kukutusomea ati juu watu wamesema wanasema hatuna nidhamu. My friend, ni ukaya na mtaratara. No one tells us what to do and at what time. We are in charge. Utakuja kutupanga kwetu anyway. One time.
No one can convince me we are going to achieve anything good by hosting the France President Macron into Kenya, because the kind of pain and chaos he has caused to our West African countries is disgusting and rebelling. Yani, it's so bad. It took Ibrahim Traore escaping assassination attempts by the French government for him to get the France out of his country, and for him to liberate the economy of Burkina Faso. Like, the people had to camp outside his house to protect him because of how French mining companies had taken hostage of his country. And so, because of my Pan-Africanism, I cannot reconcile with the fact that we can get anything good from this trip and this summit. I feel the French are looking for other countries to come and leech on, because the West African countries have come out very strongly to get them out of their system and to liberate themselves from the neocolonialism that is happening post-independence. And so I don't see anything good that would happen, or anything constructive that can impact the Kenyan lives or the economy or our ties by having him here. Also, the other thing I know about him is how the Candice Owen expose of the First Lady of France. I'm going to be petty, because that expose just truly remarkably just exposed who this man is. And I don't trust him for anything. Alafu, ile time ya Olympics Games, what does he do? He mocks the Christian Passover feast by having the people of the LGBTQI mocking our Passover by having them there doing weird, they were looking like exorcist things. So, Manze, I just feel like we need to pray, because I feel there's bad mojo. He's just, yuck, no.
Kenyans, let's not be naive. 800 troops, French troops, landed in Mombasa. And you think it's out of goodwill? No. It's because they were pushed out of West Africa. They were pushed out of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso because they were exploiting their natural resources, because they were controlling their governments, because they were fueling more problems than they were solving. That's one of the reasons why the French troops were kicked out of the West Africa Sahel nations. And now, because they need to reestablish themselves, they need to look for another place where they can reestablish their bases. Kenya becomes the new gateway, and we accept them. Because they come with a training program, they come with anti-piracy kind of things, but these are just some of the things that history has taught us, that any military presence or cooperation started with a training. Then it became a presence, it became a permanent base. Same thing that we have in Nanyuki. We have the British military base in Nanyuki. How many atrocities have they committed? And they always operate under a legal framework that is not subject to the Kenyan law. So that means whatever happens, we cannot be able to prosecute them in our own soil. And this is literally the same thing that is going to happen with the French troops. The agreement they have signed with Kenya is going to see them operate in Kenyan soil, but under the protection of the French legal protection. That means they are not subject to the Kenyan law. If anything happens, Kenya doesn't have control of these troops, and anything can be anything. Remember, they've also been exempted from taxes, so they've been given tax leverage. And when you look at Mombasa, it's our main gateway and maritime, controlling most of the shipping and trade routes for the entire Africa because of the access to the Indian Ocean. So what does that one tell you? They are not going to pay taxes. They are not going to operate under Kenya legal laws and law and frameworks. So what does that leave Kenyan with? And the main question should be, is France really helping Kenya, or are they gaining something from them being in Kenya? And what is Kenya risking to lose all this time that the French will be in Kenya? Because it seems like Kenya now is becoming the new base for foreign power. We have the American bases now, we have the British base, and now the French base is also going to establish themselves for the next 5 years, operating under the French legal protection. That means we don't even have any jurisdiction whenever they commit any atrocities. Same like we've been having a lot of cases with the British soldiers that they raped our women, they stripped our minerals, and they did all sorts of atrocities, and we cannot be able to hold them accountable. They cannot be able to be prosecuted on Kenyan soil. It's the same thing. Kenya is going to lose a degree of its sovereignty regarding these French bases. The thing that we are being told is that the French troops are in Kenya because of training, joint exercise, anti-piracy, and disaster response. But these are the soft entry narratives that are used globally whenever there's need for any military presence in any country. They usually come in like this, and before we know it, The presence has been established, a permanent base has been established, and basically they will operate with the same legal framework, just like the NATO uses and the US bases, because they operate under a certain framework called the SOFA, or the State of the Forces Agreement, where the country that hosts the bases loses a degree of its sovereignty, meaning that they cannot prosecute the soldiers whenever they commit any atrocities. And we have seen that with the British Army in Nanyuki. We have seen that with the American forces. We have seen that in many countries. We saw that in Niger, we saw that in Mali, we saw that in Burkina Faso, and the same thing is going to happen basically in Kenya. So why are we going to allow this happen? Why are we taking this issue, literally? We are taking it as if it's something that is going to benefit Kenya in any way. In any case, I don't think there's any way Kenya is going to benefit from this, because France has been losing a lot of influence in Africa. And now for them looking for a way they can reestablish, because of the way China and Russia, they have established themselves, especially China economically, and Russia has been helping countries like Niger to establish new industries and help them neutralize and leverage their natural resources. Like now, Niger is capable of refining their own gold and sell it sell it for the market price. France's presence in the Sahel, West Africa, didn't just fail. It became deeply controversial. In some cases, they fueled more problems than they solved. And if you look at the security status of the Sahel nations, the security did not improve during the time the French had their bases there. In many cases, there were so many fueled cases of attacks from the militia groups. But now, they say that they want to come to Kenya to help with security status, anti-piracy, and all these things that they mention. What makes you think that it's going to be different from the influence they had in Sahel, West Africa? What makes you Kenya is going to be different? What makes you think that they are going to help Kenya in any way that they did not help the West Africa? This is a question that I want most Kenyans to ask themselves, because we are not asking ourselves these questions. France has been accused in West Africa of so many atrocities, exploitation of their natural resources, and what makes you think they are not going to do the same in our own country? This is something that we are not asking ourselves. History should be our teacher. And if we learn all the entire time that France has been in West Africa, the Francophones, how they invaded these countries, they set bases, the security of the region of the Sahel never improved. And now they're coming to claim that they're going to improve the security status of our country. And it's not going to happen. So there must be something that they're going to gain. There must be something that they're going to gain. And there must be something that Kenya is going to lose. They've signed an agreement to stay in Kenya for 5 years, but it will be extended, operating in our Kenyan soil with their own legal protection, meaning that Kenya has lost a degree of their own sovereignty. We cannot prosecute their soldiers. Regardless of whatever the atrocities they will do, they will always be subjected to the French laws, meaning that they will never be subject to the Kenyan laws. And I want you to ask yourself as a Kenyan, what is France going to gain during the time they are going to have their base in Kenya? And what is Kenya risking to lose during the whole time that French troops will be in Kenya? Because there must be something they are gaining, and there must be something that we are losing. And if you want to learn what we are likely mostly to lose, look at what happened in Sahel, West Africa. Look at what happened during the French presence in West Africa, the Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. Look at whatever happened there, and then tell me, what do you expect that will happen to Kenya? Peace out.
Now, Kenyans, Allah, Hey, Kenyans, now I know we are on a mission to impress Macron. We are on a serious mission to impress Macron. But Mbona, you come up with this? Why come up with this, surely? Yo. Does this guy go through briefing before aende apende hizi speeches zake? Itumbi, mnafanyishanga umse briefing before aende aanze kuongea vitu zake huko? Ala?
I need that phone. I need those phones. Hizo simu zatengenezwa wapi? I also want to go there and get myself a phone. Allah! Huyu ametushinda. Huyu ametushinda. Yo. But what baffles me, Kenyans, ni hii relationship yake na Macron. What does Macron have on this guy? Ako tu naye hapa kwa hapa, hapa kwa hapa, hapa kwa hapa. Anyway, Ebu give us those plugs. Two-term people, give us those plugs malizo simu zinatengenezwa. Goodbye, Kenyans.
Sasa ngojeni mgeni aende muone tukianza kupashwa eti Wakenya are very indisciplined. Even the foreigner had to tell them to keep quiet. Iyo ngojeni mgeni aende. Anaenda lini mgeni wakasongo mkoloni? Haki ya Mungu. Hii Kenya imekuwa kama shule. Shule kakona principal. Imekuwa upuzi hii sasa. Ulete wazungu tena na tuliwafukuza. Mnaongea nini na watu wamefukuzwa umorio, lakini hata mtu anasema tutam kichwa iko sawa kweli. Hebu utingishe hivi kichwa wako vizuri uone kama iko sawa. Unasemaje tutam? Cha ujinga.